What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Jess, the Total Package, Craig, the British Bulldog, and Cuz, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, Goldberg 1998. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, Soundcloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. If you want to make Jess happy in not a good way, follow us on social media or on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling
Visit us
Podcast.
on Daily Motion.
And don't forget about that motion of the dailies.
Yeah.
Daily Motion.
For live watch-alongs.
You can do
A lot of fun.
Live watch-alongs.
Or O.W.P black and white reign supreme.
Where that came from. Yeah, but Daily Motion's a good, fun place where we can go and have a good time, watch videos without
Uncensored, unfiltered. A lot of fun.
Yeah, without being censored by the YouTube maniacs. Daily Motion's the place to be. Check us out over there. Oh, 1998 for Goldberg was fun, wasn't it? As it was brief.
It was his greatest year, I think. Had to be, right?
Yeah.
You can't be launched out of a rocket like that and not, like, it's all downhill from there. Like,
Yeah.
you ever seen anything like it? Like,
It
736 and 1?
It's kind of amazing, isn't it? Like, just the whole...
I know Cuz gets mad, but it's so much like the Warriors' career. It's so fucking identical. It's ridiculous. Like,
the only difference is I think they really wanted
and
to...
the
we don't like
same
long-term
principle that they both beat the same guy, by the way, for the world title. It's fucking, they're identical. They both
Warrior
win
was better,
secondary
but,
titles.
Wait, before Dave starts, what is that? What is the issue there? Because you do not like the Warrior comparison to Goldberg?
Well, yeah, I love the Warrior, but I understand. I get it, Jess. I fucking get it.
He actually only fought. He only fought against me because
he understands it, but he doesn't have to like it. I mean,
I think Warrior had a more respectable run, right? Like traditional IC title, etc.
There was. I hate to say, there was more investment in the Warrior than there was Goldberg for longevity. They didn't know what to do with Goldberg. That's the bottom line. They had a plan for Warrior, and he kind of mucked it
I guess
up.
no, Goldberg had the U.S. title there.
Well,
he had for a cup of coffee, and then
Goldberg got super popular. Like, Bischoff was like, I cannot ignore this. Like, we have to do something with this guy. It's something organic is happening. And the same thing with Warrior. Let's put the secondary title on him. Warrior got the IC title. I think Warrior got a little bit more of a lengthy IC title run because Rude beat him and they beat Rude back. And I think that breathed out. But Goldberg wins the U.S. title.
Cuz doesn't like
and then
this.
all of a sudden,
listen.
Warrior beats Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Goldberg beats Hogan in July at the Atlanta Dome, the Georgia Dome. The same thing. It's the same thing. And then after their initial title run, they both just shit the bed. Not necessarily because of themselves, but the promotion didn't know what to do with them after they took the title off them.
Yeah.
They're like, well, this isn't working, or it's wearing out, and then we'll take it off you. And then they don't know what to do. Like,
where do you go from there? Yeah, how do you build it back up?
And then Goldberg also was coupled with the dreaded undefeated streak, which I hate because it's death. Like, it's just death. So Warrior never had that unsettled on him, at least. Goldberg had the kind of organic, we don't really know what to do. He wasn't the best in the ring, but let's just make it work because he's got a good character. People like him. And then on top of that, we'll say he's undefeated.
And then we'll until Rick Rude, though. I guess that's the question, right? For the IC title.
Not really. I mean, not really, but you didn't pay attention. But yeah, at least he got his loss out earlier.
It wasn't talked about. Yeah.
But the Warrior got his revenge on Rude, and that's important, because like he got his heat back, and like where Goldberg never really did, and it's just kind of the same. Both companies, Vince, as great as Vince was in the late '80s, early '90s, didn't know what to do. I think, like I said, I think the answer was right there. It's like Warrior was Hogan. It was the same match. It was the same thing. Like, and then Goldberg they didn't know what to do afterwards. They beat him after they saddled him with a stupid undefeated streak, and fans are carrying signs around that say, 70-0, 69-0, whatever. Like, and it's like, oh God, like you're just when this guy finally loses, what are you going to do? And Bischoff's like, nothing. I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'm never going to let him get his heat back. I'm never going to let him.
Like, well, you could argue that the stock wasn't very high because what could even past? You saw him wrestle 8-man matches. It wasn't good. I mean.
And he never learned, like, on top of that. Yeah, there's a lot. But we're just talking about 1 year, which is like his best year.
Yeah. Well,
the first one.
Let's jump into that year. On the September 22nd, 1997 episode of Nitro, Goldberg defeated Hugh Morris in his debut match. I heard that guy's a nice guy, that Hugh Morris. I hear he's really sweet. Yeah. So Goldberg had a succession of wins, and he advanced up the card and was pushed up as a singles wrestler there. The newcomer captivated fans with his monstrous yet silent charisma, brute strength, and agility. He vaulted the ropes, performed high kicks, and performed the occasional backflip. The guy was definitely agile. After a brief feud with Mongo McMichaels, as Jess was talking about, Goldberg was starting to get big reactions with his matches on television. Nothing like a Mongo McMichael push.
Right? Mongo started this whole thing.
Mongo's a genius.
Don't spare me, baby.
Baby. In early 1998, Goldberg squashed Brad Armstrong at Super Brawl.
He killed Pepe, right? Goldberg, I believe, killed Pepe, his chihuahua. He pile drived
Big Boss Man, isn't that Big Boss Man? Big Boss Man's the only one that killed
the chihuahua.
Yeah. He also pinned Perry Saturn at Spring Stampede.
That was his first real competitive match. We talked about this on a previous podcast. It was good, and he could mat wrestle. He could do some chain stuff.
I didn't put it in here. The Regal one is legend.
Oh yeah,
because Regal was one of his victims on Monday Nitro one night, and Regal to this day said, I was told to go out there and have a semi-competitive match with him to stretch him.
You got to go 8 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Goldberg heard the same thing too. They went out there and they went a little bit, and it just exposed Goldberg because he was botching, and Regal was giving him the uppercuts, and Regal was getting the advantage, and finally Goldberg hit him with the spear and pinned him, and then when they came back, I guess Bischoff was fucking livid and yelling at Regal, going what the fuck are you doing?
Okay. Who's running things at this time?
Eric.
Yeah.
Okay. I get there and I am told by the agent, and Bill is there with the agent in charge, to go out and have a 6-minute match. Bill had never done anything more than a 90-second match. And the words were, and we both heard it, have a competitive match. Something different, right?
I thought it was a competitive match.
Right. So we go out and go through a few things. Let's get this right. We get out there. And if you watch it, and if you know what you're watching for, and that's what throws me off. I'm glad that people still think that I'm that good that I can make it look like I'm killing people, right, or taking liberties. Go out there, and Bill doesn't really. He freezes up. He doesn't know it. So I'm just working around him, and that's all. If I'm telling you, I'm trying to get him to do stuff, and I'm working around him. I'm trying to get him to do. People say I don't hit him any harder than I hit anybody else. In safe places.
You were snug. You laid your stuff in. You protected the business.
Places.
Yeah, I know. I'm down with it.
There's no liberty. It's just complete divvy talk when people go and say any different. And so I'm trying to get him to, go on, do something. Eventually, and that's all it is. It's me sort of getting him through stuff.
Right.
Until he finally gets it to, and we do whatever we got to do.
Bischoff knew he had something, and you got to think it's a little fear on Bischoff's part too. He's like, I can't control the political monsters that Nash, Hogan, and Hall are, but this is my guy. This is this new thing. I'm trying so fucking hard to keep this company on track. I can't control the other fuckers because I let them fucking run the asylum. It's my fault, But Goldberg, please don't fucking taint him. And so I think Bischoff was more mad because he's like, this fucking thing that I'm trying to keep the company competitive against WWF. Because at this time WWF is coming on real hard. Much
later in the timeline, but I mean it was a big deal to do that when that's not the course, and you can see how much it exposes him because he's just doing one thing, going out and getting a big paycheck.
Every week we saw him come out. The match would be a minute or two, and he would fucking spear and jackhammer, and place would go nuts. I loved it when I was watching it. I was like, dude, this is fucking cool.
So they called him Bill Goldberg until mid-March of 98. They stopped referring to him by his full name, shortened it just Goldberg. WCW also began counting Goldberg's consecutive wins on television, and about this time he continued to climb up the ranks. Goldberg's win over Saturn was his 74th consecutive without a loss. On the next
and then he started coming out and with the fireworks. That he started doing that too, and that was captivating.
Breathing in the smoke.
Yeah, you would see him push the smoke out and everything. It was like a dragon. It's so crazy.
It was
you talked about lightning in a bottle. How is this not lightning in a bottle, right? That's what everybody talks about.
It reminds me of the Booker T entrance. It reminds me of Batista's entrance with the machine guns. It's very captivating. You can't. You want to see it. You want to see it every time. Oh, Goldberg's coming out, and then they got even more eventful with the banging on the door, bringing the security.
Yeah, the security and the
that's right.
Still the
and
best.
it was just, and you hear the music before, and they're like, "Bill, it's time!" Boom, boom, boom. And he's like, and he's a fucking like a horse on steroids, ready to go.
I'm not done with my ribs.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. That actually didn't.
Theme song was the best part.
It was just like, that
The
was almost
theme
like
song was good.
military.
Everything worked great. Yeah.
And then not to jump ahead, like the Jericho and Ralphus mocking of that too. So fucking good. As a counter to that. Not in this episode, but I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, it was very good. And
same year. It is the same year. Yeah.
Jericho's right, by the way. Hopefully we might get into that. The next night on Nitro, he challenged Raven for the United States Championship that Raven had won the night before at Spring Stampede. Goldberg interfered from Raven's flock. Ironically, however, he overpowered them all and defeated Raven to win his first professional wrestling championship against
Superman.
Raven.
Any way they can. Bringing Raven back in. There's a spear. For the second time, the spear. Could it be time? Everyone standing. As Goldberg is going for it right now. No! Hammer! 2, 3! We got a new champion! And Goldberg is open for business! Give that man the belt! Goldberg is the United States Heavyweight Champion, and he won it in grand style!
Goldberg was getting over as a main eventer. He continued to defend the U.S. title and slowly became a contender for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship that was held by the New World Order leader, Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Doesn't work for me. It was scheduled for the July 6, 1998 episode of Nitro held at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta with over 40,000 people in attendance. We always joke there was more people in attendance for TV versus pay-per-view because that's what they had booked out. And that's what it was all about. But Hogan insisted that Goldberg first had to defeat his NWO stablemate Scott Hall. Goldberg won and also was also able to defeat Hogan later in the evening to become the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Brother.
In turn vacating his United States
He wasn't even on the main roster for a year, by the way, and he wins the World Heavyweight Championship.
Here's boys! Okay, there's part one. Now finish him off! Finish him off! He's calling for it! This is it! This is it! Your career's on the line here! Do it! Do it! This place will erupt when he picks him up. He's got him up! Oh, hell yeah! 1, 2, 3! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! We've got a new heavyweight champion of the world! The first undefeated man in the history of this sport to ever win the world championship!
Dude,
Like
this picture,
Warrior at least
this
had a
picture of
chance
Goldberg with the big gold on is pretty dope. You gotta admit.
Well, Warrior had at least like a year or so to feud with like Hercules and Harley Race and all that stuff before he beat Honky. Goldberg was in the main roster for less than a year, and he's beating Hollywood Hogan in front of 40,000 people in the Georgia Dome on Monday Nitro. Like that's fucking. It's kind of insanity. Like when you think about it, like
as long
his
as it's not
ride.
weird, brother. That's what he was saying. No, not weird, brother.
Yeah. We're gonna get to some really funny stuff that's some bullshit in a minute, but I'm just reading ahead. But after Diamond Dallas Page,
sorry, I want to tell you too. So that note, so when he had to beat Hall, if you go back, so again, I'll jump on the Hogan bandwagon a little bit because Hogan's is, Hogan knows how to slow shit down because he likes it slow. So if you go back and watch the Hogan and Goldberg match, it's painfully simple, but it's totally Goldberg speed, and it's all built up to the ending where you see him jackhammer Hogan. Someone throws a fucking full toilet paper roll in the ring, and he pins him, and that place goes crazy. But the match before, which was like an hour before against Scott Hall, was a fucking mess. And you watched Hall try to fucking it was like a wild stallion, and you're trying to throw a saddle on a wild stallion, and it was awful. And you see Hall get frustrated and pissed off. That's worth going back and watching, because the way Hogan had it all smooth at the end, nothing against Hall, but Hall wants to be a little bit more athletic, right? And a little bit more competitive, because Hall's a great worker. So Hall was trying to get that out of him, and it was like they fucked each other. Like, I think Hall went to throw him to the ropes, and like Goldberg fucked that up and went to reverse him, and Hall wasn't ready and almost fell. And like you could tell Hall was like, motherfucker. Like you could tell Hall was getting really pissed, like in there. And then he beats Hall, and then he qualifies.
But why would you need that? Like, you've got 40,000 people. Why would you waste Goldberg's entrance like once with Hall? Like, just have
think it was just to build. It was to build up the like watching the entire Nitro. So they wanted people to tune in the first hour and then hit it also again in the second. Even though Hogan and Goldberg would have attracted
ratings,
everybody.
Bro.
But you know, they had it the week before, right? Like,
yeah, it was just to build heat on Hogan. Hogan's a coward,
and it's very non-Hogan like to allow someone to.
You put Goldberg in the second and third hour, you're tuning into both hours. I mean, you are.
And for Hogan to allow someone to beat Hall and then beat him, like that's
and actually, it's funny that you say that, Dave. So in April of that year, that's the first time that WWF won the ratings war in 83 weeks. So they snapped it, and then they traded back and forth, and then WWF started winning and winning and winning, and then this Goldberg episode, Nitro beat Raw this night.
It worked for that
and it worked, anyway. But I mean, it worked, but it didn't, because Goldberg
didn't work. It didn't work long term.
Hot shotting,
And then Goldberg wrestled twice for a week for the next 3 months.
There you go.
No,
you probably should have.
But yeah, the match with Hall was a disaster, and they were just trying to build heat on Hogan.
Goldberg's like, I'm going to wrestle twice on Mondays. I'm still gonna win. Twice.
I'm winning.
So after DDP became the number one contender for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, Goldberg and Page began a feud with each other. At Halloween Havoc, Goldberg and Page ended the feud when he being Goldberg retained the title. Goldberg states that his match against Page was his favorite match of all.
It was really good.
Is that right?
Live.
Good for them.
We were there live, and it was really good. DDP. God, so many people fucking shit on him for no reason. Like,
he really is.
I don't know why. Like, I don't
DDP's fucking amazing, and he walked Goldberg into the best match of his career at this point. Really, I mean, while the Hogan match was super simple and it just had to serve the purpose, you just had to see that jackhammer and see the pinfall, and there you go. But yeah, the Goldberg and DDP match was really good. It was Goldberg's first true wow, that was a good match. Like Goldberg hung in there, it was fine.
Page gonna try suplex, forget about it. Goldberg got him up. Goldberg's got him up. Jackhammer him down. 1, 2, it's Goldberg. It's Goldberg. That's why he is the man. That was a remarkable match. The only thing I can think of is, my God, I love this sport. I do too. It doesn't get any better than this. This is the greatest thing going.
Yeah. Goldberg rose to fame with his undefeated streak. However, at Starrcade, he lost the title to Kevin Nash after 175 days as champion.
I don't remember
the
that.
Official count of 173-0. I think this is okay. Scott Hall disguised as ringside security guard makes a run in and shocked Goldberg with a taser gun. I have so many things I want to say about this. First, so he's 175 days as champion, and he had a record of 173-0. So it almost sounds like he was wrestling more than weekly, right? It's definitely an embellished record.
Well, they started embellishing and padding it towards the end. After they got like 40 wins, Bischoff's like, let's just fast forward by 10 every week. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of let's get this going a little bit.
He wrestled at the elementary school till the next day.
Yeah, Rio de Janeiro tournament he won.
It was fine.
But my big thing about that, I've never been. I know this ended the 98. This was December 98 in Starrcade when he lost. So this ends the year, which is our topic.
But
I'm gonna say this right now. I didn't care. I'm glad he fucking lost to Nash. However, because it's all about the build. It's all about the build. Like, he had to make a Kill Bill list, going forward, I'm gonna fucking get my revenge. And they started setting it up in January and February. It was like, first I'm gonna get Hall, then I'm gonna go get Nash, and then in between time, Hogan somehow wins the title back, which he did. He beat Savage again, because Savage can never fucking enjoy 5 minutes without Hogan beating him for the title.
Without me getting there, brother.
So that's what happened. Hogan ends up winning the world title again in early '99, and I thought that's what they were doing as a fan. I was like, okay, Nash beat him, but now he's gonna get his revenge. Good. The fucking loss is out of the way because I hate fucking undefeated streaks. So now he's going to go back and get Hall. He's going to get Nash, and then he's going to get Hogan again. Okay, you're going to redo it. I'm on board with that because you're building heat, and Goldberg will get his comeuppings. Yes, 1,000 times. Let's do it. And then they just didn't do it. Like they hadn't beat Hall, they hadn't beat Nash, and then after that, Hogan's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And they're like, they never had the Hogan and Goldberg thing. They just stopped it, and the Goldberg got injured shortly after, and it was all a mess. Like,
can we also take a second just to talk about the Scott Hall with the taser gun? Didn't they superimpose audio for the taser gun over like the whole?
I don't know. WWF used to do that a lot.
That was Vader.
I don't think they did. I think the one that he had was the cattle prod, and it did crackle, like it did crackle, like it did that noise.
Nash gets a break. What is that? That's one of those tasers the police use. It's like a stun gun. That was Scott Hall. That was Scott Hall. You could hear it clicking. It was like a cattle prod or a stun gun. Kevin Nash never saw that, and he jabbed it in the midsection of Goldberg. Oh no! Wait a minute. He jackknife powerbomb. Could this be it? 1, 2, 3. The streak is over, and we have a new world champion. The streak is over. 173-1, and a new world champion. Kevin Nash is crowned world's heavyweight champion.
But they somehow
enhanced.
I don't know how he did it without shocking Goldberg. I don't know the magic behind the things, but like
I was just like, there's no way we should be hearing this right now.
Have you ever seen a cattle prod in WWE, WWF ever?
The Mountie shock stick used to be canned in noise.
Oh, similar,
like for sure. It was like,
but never main event kind of shit like that, where someone comes down and does that kind of shit. Right? Like,
I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I'm just saying, like, I never minded. If you go back and watch, the pop for Nash winning was fucking gigantic. Like, it was split. Like, I remember that match. That match is actually a really good match, actually. You talk about DDP. The match with Nash was not bad at all, and that crowd was fucking hot as fuck the entire night. They would split Nash and Goldberg. It was awesome. And but like, yeah, I was like, when I watched him lose, I was like, that's all fine. How is he going to come back though? Like, and I knew in my mind, even as a fan back then, the political sharks of Hogan, Hall, and Nash, there's no fucking way.
Oh, there's no way Hogan's losing twice to Goldberg.
And then the finger poke of doom happened.
That's definitely not over for you, brother.
Then the next week on Nitro, when they had the finger poke of doom, that neutered Goldberg. They didn't let him get his comeuppance. Then they did the finger poke of doom.
Wait, finger poke of doom was when?
That's how Hogan won the title back. That's right. They gave Nash just handed the fucking belt to Hogan on the finger poke of doom.
Yep.
Goldberg runs down to get his comeuppance, and they beat the shit out of him and spray paint him in the ring. And I'm like, okay, like you guys just fucking neuter this guy. Like again, you beat him and then you fucking neuter him like 2 weeks later. You guys are silly. Like you guys are just absolutely silly. He never got his revenge. That's what killed Goldberg. It's like he just had no momentum.
I know it sounds incredibly weird too, but like Goldberg.
Hogan. I'll be honest.
Like I did, brother.
I told you.
I murdered that son of a bitch.
Just captured a great image. You'll probably share here of Goldberg amongst his fireworks with the breathing smoke with the big gold belt on. I don't know if the big gold belt fit anybody better than Goldberg. It seems like if you bought an action figure that was a wrestler and the title was supposed to fit, like it wasn't supposed to come off.
It looked awesome.
It looked awesome on Goldberg. Like it looks, it's because it's huge. Anybody else that looks too big, but on Goldberg, it's like that thing just fucking fits snug, bro. Like it's just like it's supposed to be there forever. And it wasn't there for very long. It was there for like half a year. We're talking like 6 months. Maybe
he was their only hope. If they could somehow get him to learn wrestling and there wasn't cancer in the back room that was just corrupting him and all that stuff, he was their only hope to try to, because Austin and the Vince storyline was on fire in '98. And then The Rock got big and DX got big and Mick Foley was there.
Could you argue though that even if he was in WWE, like a lot of this stuff was on him later? He didn't want to be there. He didn't have the passion that others did. We talked about this. I mean, I don't want that. No. I'm not trying to blame him for that.
He had no chance, Dave. If Hogan's got Bischoff's ear and Nash is doing the same thing, he had no chance.
What I'm telling you is he had the chance in WWE and that didn't work out either. Like
you had Triple H you had to thank for that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. if you have enough passion for it and you want to make it work, I think you stick around.
No.
He doesn't. He didn't.
No. If it's passion plus like an entire separate job working the back. And Triple H
and he didn't want to do either of those things.
Correct. And that's not Goldberg's fault. It's like he didn't want to fuck over him, like in politic.
You wrestle with this guy, you realize like he's so great.
The problem is, and that's what a lot of people said about the Warrior. And looking back now, I disagree with them. Like, listen, like you guys pushed him on the top of the mountain. So guess what? You guys have to support this guy. You have
fast-tracked it.
Like it's a business. It's a business, right? So figure out a way. Goldberg's not safe. Make him safe. Make him fucking safe, guys. Logan Hall and Nash, we're not going to make him safe. You ever seen
sales guys that add toxicity to the entire environment, but they never get fired? It's the same concept.
Do you know
Chad
who made him
Hogan
safe?
and Kyle Nash? Yeah.
Do you know who would have made him safe? Guys like Jericho, who tried to have a program with him, going, "I'll job for you, but let me build the heat 100%. For you." But they were like, "No." Like, and
Goldberg's
that's
like, "You're
problem.
making fun of me, Goldberg. You're making fun of me." Like, no, dude. I want to set you off every week, so eventually you crush me. That's the story.
And actually, in Jericho's book, like he said, the only one that came around at the end was Hogan. And because like he kept telling Hogan, he's like, "Come on!" Like every week, Hogan's like, "I don't know, brother. I don't think they're going for a brother." And then finally, like they let Goldberg spear him in the aisle, but they never had a match. And the crowd went huge. And he went back. He's like, "See, if they would have let me have a match, I told you I would do the right thing. I told you." And in Jericho's book, Hogan looked at him. He's like, "You were right." And he was like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, I fucking told you.
Jericho's like, I know that I'm right. Because I know.
Yeah, he's like, I told you. Like, I told you. And Hogan's like, you're right. And he told Bischoff that too, or something like that. I can't remember the chapter of the book, but he told Bischoff. Bischoff's like, no, I don't want to damage Goldberg. And Hogan's like, he's on to something.
That would never have damaged Goldberg in any way at all. It's so ridiculous.
But in the bubble, well, I think a lot of people saw it. It's just the political environment was nasty. You couldn't get past Hogan. You just couldn't. Like,
true.
Cuz his favorite wrestler fucking things up again. I'm so sick of Hogan. I wish Cuz never liked him.
You don't get past.
That was his 98 year, and I would say overall, like that year was like so good. I mean, what other wrestler besides the Warrior? And I think that's also why I compare him to. I'm not trying to compare him to be negative, but it's a mediocre rise, right? Like you had Hogan, the same.
The run was
denominator,
the same.
like in both. It's just it was that meteoric rise. It was lightning in a bottle. It was something that you can't like. God, if you fuck it up, you ruined it. And like that's just what happened with Goldberg. It's like they had a specific thing that they needed to do with him.
Ryback,
they couldn't
Warrior,
make him look
Goldberg.
weak for too long, and then they did, and it was like fuck. WCW. The ending of WCW to me just is so fascinating. Like it's just so they had I mean, we were talking about 40,000 people in 1998 on a Monday Nitro. That's insanity. And like they couldn't fucking sustain it.
To fold a year
later. They couldn't sustain it. They couldn't fucking control it. It's weird.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's quite the phenomenon. It's an incredible story.
Yep.
For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. Can you do us a solid and give us a follow on Instagram or Twitter at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? And don't forget that daily motion where you can watch videos unabated by the hecklers at YouTube and go uncensored while we watch some of our favorite matches and just some fun stuff.
And by the way, I'm going to make the official thing. We're going to move reviews over there because I think it's our reviews when we review like pay-per-views. It's just better if I can show the 15-second ending live.
I was not consulted. I do not consent. I do not consent.
I don't consent.
This is bullshit.
You've been outvoted for weeks.
This is bullshit.
Stop worrying about, people come over to your house, for a company. You would have had a vote.
Stupid.
I'm sorry, that's not nice. For Dave, Jess, Cuz, Craig,
fuck
everybody.
You.
I know.
Yeah. I got moved up. Craig got moved down, baby.
Yeah, bitch. Oh, shit.
Sober up, bitch. Sorry. This is the O.W.P signing off. Have a good one.